Exploring and colonizing Mars might happen in our lifetime thanks to this recent breakthrough. We can already fly to Mars, but getting a person there isn't as simple. The first barrier would be the distance between Earth and Mars. The two planets are far enough away that we have to time our launches within a window when the two planets approach each other in orbit. This is called the transfer window, and it only happens about every 26 months. This makes manned missions harder, and not just due to the time constraints. There's also the logistics of supporting a human crew for the 9-month trip there, the time they spend on Mars working and waiting for the next transfer window, and then keeping them alive the whole way back on the return trip. That means carrying enough food, water, air, toiletries, clothes, and medical supplies for multiple years with little, if any, margin of error. While they might be able to manage a short visit and keep the round trip just barely within the transfer window, that's not long enough to get anything of value done in terms of trying to make portions of Mars livable or building anything on Mars that could be of use. We also can't land a ship on Mars reliably without crashing it just yet. Unlike landing on the Moon, Mars has stronger gravity than the Moon, but weaker than the Earth. It has more atmosphere than the Moon, but thinner than that of the Earth. Since our landing tech is only tuned for either landing on Earth or the Moon, more testing data and adjustments will be needed before any spacecraft can land reliably on the red planet. That brings us to our next barrier, which is the cost of carrying all those supplies and people. All the stuff needed for a multi-year journey is heavy, and that means they'll use more fuel and be more likely to need a refuel, which we can't do mid-trip, at least not yet. Unlike machines, humans can't just die for years and be revived with a simple battery change, but AI robotics can. Machines don't need ships with air, they don't eat or drink, but if they run out of power, you could say they sleep. This is why we're able to send Mars rovers, but not people. We've had functioning AI for a short time, and its development appears promising. There are multiple AI models out there learning and growing on their own after some initial training. They're already being considered for a variety of dangerous or tedious tasks here on Earth, but they could be instrumental in getting us to Mars, and maybe building the first Mars colonies. There are multiple companies all over the world racing to build and develop autonomous humanoid robots. These robots, once they're ready, should be able to do everything a human can and more. Building humanoid robots allows them to use existing tools and equipment already designed for humans to use. It also allows for standardization of parts, since all the robots will have the same basic structures like arms and legs, which allows more efficient manufacturing and use of spare parts. Imagine if we made an independent AI model that could be taught all the existing data we have about Mars. Then we send it there with an army of humanoid robots for it to control. Instead of carrying food, toiletries, and personal effects, the ship can now carry spare parts, batteries, and multiple ways to generate electricity, as well as materials to carry out extensive experiments on the Martian surface. Because robots would not be as fragile as human life, they could withstand the harsh conditions long enough to build structures and try out different methods of creating livable spaces on the red planet. As long as they can generate electricity out there and do their own repairs, they should be able to continue their mission indefinitely without the need to fly back to Earth. Since they can just stay out there working, all we would have to do is send the occasional resupply ship to drop more parts and anything else they need to continue their work, and have the ship fly back. Over time, they can learn, build, send back samples, and transmit updates to Earth so we can see what they found out. With AI's ability to think and learn on its own, an AI model should be able to do in a decade what would have taken humans a century to do. Just the time advantage of not having to fly there and back, or worry about medical issues or problems here on the Earth causing setbacks, would speed things up exponentially. While AI itself might be able to learn and adapt fast enough to handle a mission like this, getting AI-controlled robots to be scientists, botanists, architects, electricians, and construction crews without any assistance from humans might take a few more years to pull off. That said, sending some AI-controlled rovers to the surface of Mars to collect samples from different areas and having them send it back is much more feasible with today's technology. This would allow us to perform experiments here on the Earth to see if we can grow Earth plants in Martian dirt. Considering the next transfer window between Earth and Mars would open around November to December of 2026, it seems like the most we'll get is a test from SpaceX to see if they can land a Starship on Mars safely. When do you think we'll be ready to start building the first Mars colony? Tell us in the comments below. If you liked this video, you might also enjoy this one here on the screen. Subscribe to make sure you see more of our videos.